Larry Namer is the co-founder of E! Entertainment.
Please give it up for Mr. Larry Namer.
So excited to welcome Mr. Larry Namer to the show. He is a media icon, co-founder of E!, president of Meetan.
Larry Namer, the founder of E! Television and
The Howard Stern Show, The Kardashians.
Larry, could you do a TV series on bottled water? With ChatGPT and, AI in general, it takes me 30 seconds to kind of put that in and get it out. The first thing you need to do is understand who the audience you're speaking to. With the book was a good example because I used AI to develop my social media campaign.
And let's speak about hard moments.
When we went on the air, it was this telling moment. You realize that it's not just like you got a movie that's coming out on Friday night. It's like once you flick that switch, you got to do it 24 hours a day.
Live, uncut, uncensored from Los Angeles in person. My third interview. Thank you for saying yes, Larry Namer.
Thanks for having me.
I've been trying to change my accent to fit into the New York accent, which I absolutely love, but it's epic failure right now.
Yeah, it's definitely not possible.
Anyway, welcome to an episode 2 of the $1 Million Branders podcast. And today we are talking about this legendary man's book, Offscript. I love the name, Larry. I'm so happy you finally did it.
It took 3 months to write, but 20 years for me to decide to write it. So
I feel like there's a movie too off the back of this.
I've actually been contacted by someone already that said they read the book, they want to do the movie. I don't think I'm ready for the movie yet.
Next year. The end of this year, possibly.
We'll see.
We'll sway your opinion. But such an incredible book. Love all of it. I think the thing that is so awesome about your personality is your humor, and you've got it's like, I would call it like a dry sense of humor. And I think, it's
very dry.
Yeah. And I love it. And I think it's very relatable, especially in the book, because your journey from Brooklyn to Hollywood has been absolutely legendary. But what moment in your career made you realize you were playing in a league of your own?
There were a bunch of those moments, but people think that E is now in 142 countries and valuation is up around $7 billion, I think, and stuff like that. So people always want me to say E. They expect me to say E, but it was actually, if I had to pick one moment, it was I was in China for the first time, and the person that I was working with was introducing me to someone in Mandarin. And I could just, she's trying to explain E, and I could just see this blank look on the guy's face until finally I just heard the guy go, talk soup. And I went, holy S. I said, that was kind of that moment where I said, the stuff that I've done is not just popular in the US, but it's kind of got this global audience.
And I think the thing with you is you're very good at creating an experience through platforms and through shows and really that level of connectivity. And there were so many pivotal moments in your life. What is the one show that you really, really loved with all your heart?
Well, Talk Soup was, fabulous. When we started that, people were, the folks in the company were going, you want to do a TV show that makes fun of TV shows? And I'm like, exactly. And they're going, that's like crazy. Who cares about that? That show ran 26 years, I think.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And in Offscript, you pull back the curtain on the entertainment industry, which is so interesting. What is the biggest misconception do you think people have about Hollywood?
Well, they think that there's some science to it. I think one of the things that really made E was Alan and I, my partner, Alan Marufka, we just always thought Hollywood is funny stuff. Don't try and make believe it's rocket science and stuff. So we always dealt with Hollywood in a very whimsical way, which was very unusual for that time, because then you only had things like Entertainment Tonight and Access Hollywood, which would give you a 20-second soundbite of something and would deal with it like it was serious business and stuff. And we just never saw it that way.
And with decades of experience in media and entertainment, how has storytelling evolved, and where do you see it heading in the next decade, especially with social media?
Well, I think, clearly there are a few changes. Number one, when I first got involved in the business, Hollywood was a place you had to come to make visual entertainment. You needed the big sound stages, you needed the cameras that at that point were $250,000 for a camera, which is not as good as the camera on your iPhone. So everybody had to come here. But over time, that's really changed because technology has now brought down the cost and the entry points so that you have great visual content happening all over the world. So to me, Hollywood it's not a geographic place anymore. It's a measure of creativity. It's a measure of quality. But that's it. So number one. The other is, the audience appetite and how they consume media. Back in the day, in the U.S. here, there were 3 TV networks, and you had to watch what NBC wanted you to watch on Thursday night at 8 o'clock. I mean, it's all moved to consumer-driven now. I mean, you as the viewer are in charge of what screen you want to watch it on and what time you want to watch it. So you've seen that you move to on-demand as opposed to fixed time frames. And then, just the length of time that people are willing to spend with any kind of visual entertainment. Everything has moved to short form now, or largely to short form. There's great stuff on the streamers and stuff, but you elect into it and you watch it when you want. You can watch it on your iPhone, you can watch it on your laptop, you can watch it on your big TV. So it's changed dramatically, and technology marches on whether you like it or not.
It does.
So you just have to pay attention and go with it.
And especially with the short form content, I mean, how do you really capture attention? And also, what do you think is the most powerful platform moving forward?
Well, I love Instagram and I love TikTok and that. And, one of the things, I have a big company in China, and it really is a great place for a testing ground. I mean, first of all, when we do television in China, about 70% of our audience is watching on a cell phone, which has caused us to produce it differently. You can't do wide shots anymore because then they look like little dots. But then the other thing that's going on in China, which is going to happen here and it's going to happen all over the world, in China we do something like we make a movie, like a 90-minute movie, and then we break it up into 2-minute slots. So you have 45 2-minute segments. So you're basically taking a feature film, serializing it. And then, in China, we give away the first 10 episodes for free, and then you get hooked, and then it's $1. If you want episode 11, it's the equivalent of $1 and stuff like that. So the economics work amazingly well, but you have to learn how to produce those. And, for us, when you get to this thing where you have to have story that runs in 2-minute segments,
yes,
you hire soap opera writers because they use the writing in 2-minute arcs.
And how important is it to inject humor? Because you do have a dry sense of humor, which I love, but into things that you do to capture attention.
Everything that I do is kind of whimsical and kind of funny. And so just about everything is kind of got a little bit of touch of my sense of humor. Even when I do serious drama, it's got a little bit of my sense of humor in it.
How do you inject humor into things?
There's a zillion ways. I mean, in China, I never wrote comedy before, but I wrote a comedy for China, which actually made it to national television. It was crazy. It reached 1.1 billion people on national TV. But I needed, it was kind of a romantic comedy and stuff, but I needed a character to be neutral, like not everything rich is good or poor is good. So I just decided I was going to, it's where a guy goes back to the farm that he grew up on. So I just decided that I would have a donkey be the narrator of the show. And so literally, the rich people thought the poor people were crazy. The poor people thought the rich people were crazy. The donkey just thought they were all nuts. So the injection of humor came through the donkey's look at life.
So good, so good. And you've worked with some of the biggest names in the business. What is one lesson you've learned from a major Hollywood player that changed your approach to business?
Well, I think most of the people that are really, popular in the Hollywood business or the media business, at the end of the day, they're all just people. they have families and they have social life and friends and stuff. But yet, traditional media treats them very differently. It's so Tom Cruise, tell me about your next movie. Where Tom would rather answer like what he's doing with his kids on the weekend and stuff. So they really strive to have people see the human side of them as well as the professional side of them.
Absolutely. And your book dives into the realities of power and influence. What's one hard truth about success in Hollywood that people don't want to hear and also don't necessarily know?
Well, I have a theory of Hollywood that I deal with. I mean, people come from all over the world because they think they're going to come here and make Oscar-winning movies and TV shows and stuff like that. And clearly it doesn't happen that way. But you get all kinds of weird people out here. I mean, I'm a New Yorker still at heart. And my feeling is that when you're dealing in Hollywood, just people are full of it until they prove to you they're not full of it.
Yes.
So it's not like you're innocent until proven guilty. I mean, in my Hollywood world, is you're guilty until proven innocent.
I love it. You have to be like that in the space. You've been ahead of the curve in so many media trends. What's the one innovation or shift in the industry that excites you the most right now? And I know you're doing a lot in the AI space.
Yeah, and it clearly is AI.
Yes.
I mean, because when you think about it, I mean, we all are human beings on this planet, and we all have almost the same amount of time here. So the most valuable thing we have is our time and where we put it. I mean, when you take things like AI, there's a downside to it. We need to establish laws and regulations where people who want to do bad with it know that there are going to be consequences for it. We don't really have that yet. But when you look at it, if you were to say to me, Larry, could you do a TV series on bottled water, or
Larry, could you do a TV series on bottled water? Let's go.
Yeah, I could do a TV series on anything. But yes. Normally, just to do the research and write it up and do the graphics and the PowerPoint would take me 5 days. To get this very shallow, kind of look at whether or not there should be a TV series about bottled water. But now with ChatGPT and AI in general, it takes me 30 seconds to kind of put that in and get it out. And it takes me about an hour to clean it up because it's never 100%.
Yes.
It does need that human touch. So now in 1 hour, it's taking me what used to take me 5 days. So I've reclaimed those 5 days into my life. And to me, that's the most valuable thing. I can do more of those and make more money. I can play with my little grandbaby. I could learn how to speak Spanish. I mean, it's just an absolute it's a tool. It's not a danger. It's really a tool that you could use.
If you are enjoying this episode, if you have gotten value from this episode and it has changed your life by teaching you things, I'm going to ask you a huge favor. If you would subscribe, like, follow, and share with people so we can bring more incredible guests to the $1 Million Branders podcast to serve you better so you can make more money in your business, in your life, and accelerate your growth into becoming the $1 million brand that I know is possible for you. Thank you, and my greatest appreciation to you. Let's go into Larry Namer ChatGPT prompts. So let's say we are starting a series about water. What are some prompts you would go through for ChatGPT? Because it is about how to prompt it. So.
Yeah, it's all about prompting. And I tell people all the time, the most valuable thing you could do now is learn how to prompt. Because it's amazing where it gets you and how quick it gets you there. So, the first thing you need to do is understand who the audience you're speaking to. So if I'm doing something for... the book was a good example because I used social media, but I used AI to develop my social media campaign. So the first thing you do is you tell it what kind of voice you want it to act in or what kind of expertise. So you would say something like, act as if you were the best copywriter for Facebook in the world and write a review of my book and stuff like that. So you tell it what voice to speak in, you tell it who it needs to speak to, and then you tell it what the story is you want to get across.
What about a show? So I want to develop a short series on social media. How would you prompt it?
As what?
How would you prompt it if I'm starting a short show So, breaking content pieces into something.
Oh, so,
digestible.
you say act as if you were, the
Larry Namer.
development person at Warner Brothers, and if you were the head of development at Warner Brothers, and write a short scenario of whatever the series is, with the goal of taking, NBC programming people to accept it and want to make it into a TV series.
So good. So we're going to have a lot of Bitcoin processing later for you.
Oh, yeah.
From many people watching this. We'll give you some royalties. But looking back at your career, Larry, because you have done so much, and I know you're doing so much, like you've got Stall Talk. What are some of the other shows you're working on now?
Well, we got into the podcast world. I mean, basically all the women that I know have kind of guilted me into creating voice for them in the media world.
Yes.
So Stall Talk is out there. We just did another one with a host named Jordana Guimarães from Brazil, which is really health, wellness, and spirituality, geared mainly to women 30 to 50. Working on another one in development now that's really geared at young Asian Americans, which is kind of fun. It's called Boba Therapy.
Funny.
That's kind of fun. And then looking at doing something for armed forces, veterans or active or veterans, really dealing with the whole issue of military suicide. But more for the people around those people that have a problem. Those people need mental health services, but how do you surround them and support them?
Yes,
and that's what we're going
absolutely.
to do with that one.
Such an incredible cause, and it's so well needed. But looking back at your career, what's one deal or opportunity you regret not taking?
Oh, God. There are a zillion of them, but I think the biggest one, way back in the internet heyday, when everybody was rushing out for domain names, I was part of a group. We actually owned the name television.com.
Oh,
And we were getting,
wow.
Without spending a dime on advertising or anything, we were getting about 1 million unique viewers a month who would just stick in television and would come up us. But we were actually offered like $6 or $7 million to buy the domain. And like an idiot, I just said to the person, I said, listen, if sex.com sells for $8 million, television.com is $10 million. And he basically said, you're out of your mind, go away, I'm not doing it. And we didn't do it. And we actually launched television.com way before the technology really would justify it. And we just lost our shirt on that one.
Oh, my God.
And I just look at that and go, boy, I could have sold that for $7 million. And I would have
Literally.
been happy.
So if you're watching this, if it's still available, no, it's not. And many dream of breaking. So many people have dreams of breaking into the entertainment industry, but don't know where to start. What's your best advice for young entrepreneurs? I'm going to say filmmakers, up and coming artists who want to disrupt the industry and really break in, but be a force.
Well, I think now, with technology being so accessible and so cheap and available anywhere, hone your skills using social media and stuff. I mean, develop short form stuff, develop TikToks, show that you have the ability to, create things that can garner an audience. I mean, if you could do that, just look at all the influencers out now that are doing TikToks and stuff, getting signed by the agencies and stuff. And then the podcast world. Look at things like Call Her Daddy and
The $1 Million Branders podcast.
But nobody's bought you for $100 million
Not
yet.
No. Yeah, I know.
But
exactly.
you just look at what people are looking at that and saying this is the future, and they're willing to invest in the future. So you look at the Dax Shepard stuff and Call Her Daddy and stuff. They're getting big dollars because they've shown that they could attract an audience.
Sure. And what is the best way? The podcast world is taking over. I feel like everyone has one right now, but the key ways to standing out. So if someone wants to start a podcast, what would you look at? So let's say I want to sell mine for $100 million. What would you look at as
first,
an investor?
you're starting off by doing it technically in the right place from a production quality. And I've been around too long, so I've watched all new technologies there. When a new technology comes out, people are very forgiving about production quality. You look at most of these podcasts.
Yes.
Somebody puts a $40 camera in their bedroom and they have a lamp over their head and it looks like garbage. But the content is valuable to people. So people will put up with lesser quality, but for a period of time, not forever. Over time, they expect this to move more and more and more to what their brain and their eye perceives as quality production. So, I mean, now you're sitting in a place and you got 4K cameras and good audio and stuff like that. This is where it's going to have to be in order to maintain and be sustainable. And, everybody jumps into the podcast world, but life takes over. You got to eat, you got to make money and stuff. So a lot of people, they get into it and then realize how much time goes into making good content.
Yes,
and
true.
they realize they just don't have that time to put into it.
And tenacity is very important. So
oh, God, yeah.
Can you speak to that? So some of the best people you've worked with, I know this is a theme because we spoke about it last time, they don't have the resilience. And I think one theme through your book is you never gave up. So maybe if you can speak about how E started, for instance.
Sure. Well, Alan Marufka and I, we came up with the idea of Entertainment Tonight 24 hours a day and stuff like that. And everybody thought we were nuts because you've never had a TV network of this kind of scale that was ever started by just people as opposed to media companies. And, we thought we were brilliant. We wrote a plan. 3.5 years, we couldn't raise 10 cents. Finally, we met someone who was willing to give us a little bit of money. When we started, the cost of starting a TV network was somewhere around $60 to $100 million. Nobody was giving us that money. We found someone willing to give us 2.5. So we actually, people don't realize that E started with $2.5 million, 11 employees, and 31 interns.
And Offscript, I mean, such a good name for the book. How did you, I feel like your whole life has been Offscript.
Yeah, it has. It's Offscript, never follow the crowd. We've just done departure stuff. When you look at the shows that really broke through for E, Talk Soup, when we said, I want to do a TV show that makes fun of TV shows, people were like, you're out of your mind, you're crazy, you can't do that. Well, that show ran 26 years, I think. And then we met this guy in an elevator in New York, and he was a radio guy, and we went and saw his radio show, and I went back and told everybody, I said, I want to put cameras in this guy's radio studio, and everybody went, you can't, that radio's dead 40 years, why would you do that? Well, Howard Stern went on to do pretty well and stuff like that. So there are just sometimes, you got to always reassess what you're doing, because not everything that you do is going to be brilliant.
Yes,
I literally come up with 10 new ideas every day when I wake up. By the time I go to sleep, I realize probably all of them were dopey. Every once in a while, I'll have a good one. It's just be honest with yourself and say, you know what, sounded good this morning, not so good, what's next? Again, don't waste time on stuff that really can never, materialize or scale or whatever. So
absolutely. And I love never follow the crowd. I think it's such an important theme, especially when you tend to get a lot of sheep in this society. Like everyone wants to look a certain way, everyone does things a certain way, and they'll jump on a trend on top of other things. How important is it never to follow the crowd?
No, it's really important. And people, even now, and I have a pretty decent track record in coming up with new programming. I'll go in and pitch a network or a production company, and the first thing out of their mouth, they go, well, what's it like? And I'm going, it's not like anything. It's a new idea. It's brand new. It's creative. They want to cover their butt to protect themselves, in case it doesn't work. And the reality of the media business is most of the stuff you're going to do is not going to be wildly successful. But, if you do enough of them and you stick with it long enough, you could build the audience and make them successful over time. I mean, look at a show like Seinfeld.
So good.
They thought it was going to be a summer, like 5 episodes in the summer, and, ran, 10 years or something like that. I mean, it takes time to build, and particularly with ideas that people have never seen before.
Absolutely. And I think selling an idea is so important because you may have a vision, but not everyone sees that vision. How do you get someone to believe in your idea? Because throughout your book, I mean, there were so many ideas that you had that you actually brought to life, but it takes a certain level of respect for people to believe in you.
Yeah, it's getting them to that first point where they believe in you. So obviously, we started with $2.5 million, and the company's like valued at $7 billion or something now. So what I find, where people used to think I'm an alien or just on drugs or crazy, they're now beginning to look at it and go, well, maybe that guy knows what he's talking about. I was the first one into Russia. I'm the first one into China. And
I love that topic, by the way, from Russia with love.
Oh,
that made me laugh.
That's a whole other story. That's the next
You're going to have to buy the book. Yeah.
And, but you do whatever you can to get that first thing successful. And most of the time I tell people that attach yourself to somebody who has a success record. So you got to give up part of it or whatever. It gives you credibility going in. I mean, the person that you're selling to in the media business, typically, it's going to be someone 30 to 40 years old. They're a development executive. And their job is almost to say no. It's like to be there. They're a gatekeeper.
Yes.
So, if you go in and you pitch something, they're going to go, oh, she's never done TV before. What if it fails? But if you go in with me, they're going to go, whoa, she's got a guy that's done TV for God knows how many years. I don't want to be the one left back. If that show's a hit, my boss knows that I passed on it.
Yes.
So just the first one, just get it done however you could do it. You'll make your money on the second one.
Absolutely. And your legacy is one that, you keep going and going and going, and you're doing incredible things. What's coming for you this year? What's
I
next?
still have a big company in China.
Yes.
And we've done a lot. We're doing a lot of fun stuff in China. We do TV, film, and branded content and all that. But we're doing a lot of immersive there. So you've seen things like immersive Van Gogh and Klimt and 100 Years at Disney. I think we just signed a deal to do live events. Shrek the Musical, working on a deal to bring the Harlem Globetrotters to China. We're doing some music stuff. And so China's always interesting to me. But here, I'm doing stuff that has kind of, let's call it a social impact. So financial wellness for millennials, conscious parenting, about trying to be a parent in today's world, doing a nighttime talk show called Natasha After Dark, which in this country, we don't have any women in late night television here. So Natasha, 8 years ago, was a homeless single mom walking the streets of London. You cut to today, she's here in LA, life coaching will.i.am and Steve Aoki, and it's got 20 million social media followers. And so we're doing a late night talk show with her that comes from a woman's point of view as opposed to what we normally see. But it's not promotional. So it's not Tom Cruise, tell me about your next movie. It's like, what do you do with your kids on the weekend, and how do you deal with that? So it's motivational, inspirational.
And more heart-centered, I think.
Yeah, so those are the kind of things that really excite me about doing stuff here. I get booed off the stage a lot for the Kardashians, but so this is kind of my give back period.
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. You captured a reality. There's a lot of girls who want to be a Kardashian. And look, you created a culture.
A whole bunch, yeah.
You created a culture. So for people moving to Los Angeles to follow that dream and come here with scratch, especially in today's times, what advice can you give them to really make it here?
Well, you got to, first you have to have the work ethic. People think they come here, excuse me, and Natasha was very interesting because she had the work. She not only had the talent, but she had the work ethic. And those people come along once every 10 years. People always come to me and they go, I want to be a TV talk show host. And, okay, you got a good personality, but you realize what goes into it. If you're going to be daytime TV, you're going to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
You're going to be in hair and makeup at 5 o'clock. You're going to shoot till 11. You're going to go home. You're going to have lunch, and you're going to go to sleep, and you're going to do that 50 weeks a year. And people go, oh, no, I like to spend the summer on the beach, and I go to Ibiza or the Hamptons or stuff like that. It's hard work. Oprah didn't get to where she is because she was lazy. She just worked her butt off. So you got to realize that having a pretty face or a good personality alone is not going to do it. You got to put all those pieces together, and you got to be out there. You got to be willing to do stuff that, do student films, do whatever you need to do to get in front of the people that matter.
Let's break it down to hours. How many hours do you think someone needs to really be brilliant?
Oh, I don't know if you could break it down into hours for brilliant, but I'm up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I knock my email out and
Go to the gym.
you go to the and it's really important to have those side things.
Absolutely.
Because you need the things that take you away from the stress and stuff, and let you clear your head and get back to stuff in a good way. I would say, you got to be prepared until you have a reasonable level of success to put, 10 hours a day, 6 days a week into it.
And let's speak about hard moments, because I'm sure there were quite a few. What was one of them, or a pivotal moment in your career where maybe you thought you failed or you were going to fail, and what did you tell yourself in that hard moment? Because in Offscript and never following the crowd, you're going to have moments like that. And I really want people to resonate with the fact, doesn't matter who you are, you're going to have trials and tribulations. And I always say, out of adversity is born advantage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, when we, when we started E, everybody said you can't do it. You're not Time Warner and you're not Fox and stuff like that. And, when we went on the air, it was this telling moment. You realize that it's not just like you got a movie that's coming out on Friday night. It's like once you flick that switch, you got to do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. There. And, there were times where, people would watch what we're doing and just kill us for it and stuff like that. And there were just so many moments where we didn't have any money. So literally every Thursday I'd be sitting there like, oh my God, how do I make payroll tomorrow? And that was for the first year. I mean, literally, I don't think I ever had enough money in the bank on Wednesday to know that I was going to cover payroll on Friday. So you had to be like really inventive and stuff, and totally stressed out. After we hit that first year, we grew tremendously. We were in 14 countries in the first year. And then everybody just came to us, and it was like, oh, we want to be advertisers, we want to be sponsors, we want to be your investors and stuff. But that first year was a killer.
And what was a real pinch me moment? A great moment for you where you thought, wow, I'm here, I've done it.
Well, I thought it was when we flicked the switch and went on the air, but then I found out it really wasn't. I think when we started doing long form programming like Talk Soup and stuff, and started getting letters from viewers saying, well, most of them were complimentary to Greg Kinnear. It's like, oh my God, he's so cute. And literally it started to build. I would get like 10 letters a week about Greg, and then all of a sudden I get 25, and then I get 50, and I'm like, oh my God. I said, and everything was kind of interesting, because when Greg would make a mistake, he would literally stop and roll his eyebrows. And like women would go, oh my God, he's so cute when he rolls his eyebrows. And I'm going, because he can't read the teleprompter, he's going to become a superstar. And he did.
So good. And let's talk a little bit more about your book. If you haven't read it, you need to. So the link is below. I know we're live on Amazon, and I'm going to put the link below. But tell us a little bit about the book for people that are going to pick it up.
Well, we broke my life into like 7 or 8 different parts. And besides the TV stuff, I love cooking. I've been cooking since I'm 12.
Love it.
And
I make really good cereal and toast and tea.
Yes, I somehow could imagine it's probably true. So we broke my life growing up in Brooklyn years, my Manhattan cable years, my Valley cable years, my E years, my Russia years, my China. So we basically did the anecdotes of the things that happened during that time, and then matched them with the recipes that inspired me during that same period.
Very cool.
So there's actually a thing in the book that most people are finding like amazing, and they say this can't be true. It's like the first time that Alan and I ever had lunch with O.J. Simpson, obviously before the murder. I remembered exactly what I had for lunch, and I put that recipe in the book.
It's a very, very good book, and I can't wait to see what you do next, and I can't wait to watch the movie. But thank you so much for being on the show, Larry.
Thank you for having me.
And next time I'm going to have a New York accent.
I doubt it.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you.
Home, dream of a new destination, lust